Victim services 30, 40 years ago when the victims' rights movement started was mostly handled by outside organizations, domestic violence advocates, sexual assault advocates who began working with victims. Over the past 30 years or so, what I've really seen is more of an institutionalization of victim services, not only in community-based agencies, rape crisis centers and other things, but also within the criminal justice system. We started Elevate almost 2 years ago because we noticed a need to help law enforcement agencies around the country, whether they're local, state, campus, tribal, to have tools to develop or enhance victim services capacity within their own agencies. The three components of Elevate: the first is mentorship and coaching for agencies that are interested in developing or enhancing their capacity. They're linked with an experienced person. We also have tools online for them, which include model program standards that were developed by people who do this work all the time in law enforcement agencies. The third piece is some specialized training. We're not trying to duplicate good basic victim services training that law enforcement personnel can get in their own communities or their own states. What we're really focusing on are some of the specific issues pertaining to law enforcement interaction with victims.
I believe that law enforcement-based victim services are critically important to the success and the outcome for the victim. In our line of work, we sometimes forget the focus is to be on the victims when we're trying to get a successful outcome for the case, but the outcome for the case depends on how the victim feels about the outcome. When law enforcement is well equipped to work with victims, then victims' needs are met. So the victim is the most important stakeholder in the prosecution of the case. And when victims feel that they have a voice, then they feel that they are part of the process, that they're just not a silent observer. The Office of the Fayette County Sheriff would be able to better respond to all victims by partnering with Elevate. Currently at the Office of Sheriff, we have a center that addresses victims of domestic violence and their needs. It's called Amanda Center. But as we continue to grow Amanda Center and we expand our reach to other victims of crime, our partnership with Elevate is essential. Even though we have come so far, there's still so much more work that needs to be done, and Elevate is a key to ensuring that victims across the country are best served.
I work for the second largest school in the United States. We currently have 67,500 students. And the difference between campus victim advocacy and other criminal justice systems-based advocacy is the majority of students, and including even our faculty and staff too, really don't want to participate in the criminal justice process. Campus advocates not only have to be aware of the judicial process and the civil process, but also the administrative processes that are available on a college campus, to include Title IX, which is constantly under revision, and also our campus student conduct process. Mass casualty response is a very, very unique environment for advocates to participate in. And it's like law enforcement responses, that if everybody has the same type of training, we work together much more cohesively to support the victims and survivors as they are working through that process. And knowing how to do that effectively, to be able to compassionately support them in that time of trauma and grief, is super important. I just can't say enough about the need for that type of training.
The focus on creating standards that can be replicable or applicable to every law enforcement agency in the country, I think is a key component of Elevate. Denver's had law enforcement-based victim services for 30+ years. Started with a single individual that's now expanded into a division of 3 units and about 60 people. So we've been doing victim services at the law enforcement level for quite a while. Having additional experts in the field review standards, review operations, review procedures, and then participate in ongoing conversation and dialogue with an expanding number of partners. It's been amazing to partner with Elevate to look at some of the areas that we thought we were doing well, looking at some other programs that are replicable. It's been kind of a shot in the arm to have us look at things in a novel manner. Law enforcement typically writes protocols, manuals, and procedures and puts people in place to carry those out. The mentor-mentee partnership with Elevate allows for experience to inform and modifications and changes to be made through experiential practice, rather than going strictly with a policy model and then implementation.
And the FBI is the platform and kind of the support for Elevate, but it is very much driven by our state, local, campus, tribal partners that we've been working with, so that whatever Elevate does, however it helps law enforcement agencies, it's meaningful and it's something that they can tailor to what they need. I think all of us face challenges with regard to resources and maintaining resources. So we're trying to focus Elevate in ways that helps law enforcement agencies develop sustainable victim services capacity.